Well, welcome to my channel Mispronounced Adventures. My name is Alex and welcome to the first video in my adventure van build for my 4x4 MAN TGE to do with heating. Now, if you're not new here on this channel, I talk about diesel heaters quite a lot. Diesel heater. For the heat, I said heater's heater. Leave the heating on. I did turn the heating on in the van about an hour ago. Both for air heating inside the habitation and for engine preheating in the Arctic.
Preheater is working hard this morning.
And once again for this van, I'm going to be fitting a diesel air heater and a diesel hydronic heater. And for that, I'm going to be fitting the Autoterm D4 air heater and the Autoterm Flow 5D hydronic heater for the engine. Now, both of those units need diesel to run, and I don't really like using an extra fuel tank. I like the convenience of it plumbed into the main tank. And I talk about diesel heaters quite a lot because in my last van, Yeti, I spent my winters living up in the Arctic, where it's cold, funnily enough.
New personal record, -38.
So this video is showing how to use the built-in auxiliary fuel port in this MAN TGE or VW Crafter. So hopefully other people can watch this and get an idea of actually how easy it is to use. And if you're not wondering why there is a Bluetti Apex 300 here, that's because it's this video's partner, Bluetti. And because there's no heating currently in the van, when the doors are closed, I use my electric heater, which I bought in the Arctic last winter, because even with the door shut and it uses quite a bit of power, it gets a few hours runtime and it does heat the place up quite a lot when it's turned on. But I want to get some diesel heating in here. But stay tuned because there is a Bluetti giveaway later in the video. Let's get on with it. Now, whilst the MAN TGE and the Crafters have an auxiliary fuel port on it, not many vehicles are going to be spec'd with that option. So you can go online and you can look at the different adapters. S-Bar make one, which is around £22 to £30. Which is a clip and a plastic pipe. There's also just using a rubber bit of pipe over the top and clamping it, or you can do what I did. Go to MAN Direct. Now, I've learned about something called PartsLink 24, and to get this part, ended up going on to PartsLink 24, which is part of MAN's service aspect. Signed up for an account, got that approved, typed in my VIN number, and then after I found the right middle, went to other accessories, and this is the part I'm after, the fuel connector, which appears to be the fuel line and connector, and £8.60. You can pay for day access or month access to get a part code for a specific bit I'm looking for, or you can just find the part code you're after, and then you can go order it from an MAN dealership. Right, got the parts, original MAN genuine parts, and I've got the auxiliary fuel pipe connector, £8.50, and a quick connect coolant fitting, £7.80. So I ordered the official MAN auxiliary fuel line pickup, which comes with the connector and some pre-routed fuel line to go across the tank into the clips. And I think for this build, I'm going to be ordering quite a few things directly from MAN. So if you want to find more about this, the part number is going to be in the description. Right, genuine part, and that's the part number as well. Now, one of the reasons I would recommend going on to PartsLink 24 is you can put in your vehicle's VIN number, because occasionally there are differences of part numbers due out different years, so I kind of made sure that I got the right part number for my van. And they come in these nice little MAN bags. It took about 3 days between requesting it, and there we go. So clip area, which goes into the fuel port, and then it's got some pre-bent pipe, because along the fuel tank, as we'll see later on, there are different channels it can clip into, so it's pre-molded. I'm sure if you really wanted, you could cut that off and put your own one, but I might as well use it. My engine preheater is going to be at the front of the van. And then because I'm going to have two things, I'm just going to have this probably go into the T or the fuel pump first, and then into some sort of T joint or Y joint to go off to the diesel air heater and the diesel hydronic. But that's the actual fuel line. So to install the auxiliary fuel port connector, we need to access the auxiliary fuel port. And that is on the cinder unit on the top of the diesel tank. And getting there, you can either partially drop the tank, so removing some of the straps, and partially lowering the tank, which gives you awkward access to get in, or you can fully drop the tank. Speaking to a few people, it seems that actually just fully dropping the tank isn't that much more effort and makes accessing the cinder unit for the clip a lot easier. But to fully drop the tank, I do need to release the fuel filler port here, so I can drop the tank. Unlike on my old van, the Transit, it had a flexible fuel port. The fuel filler on here is a hard plastic piece, which doesn't look like it has much flex at all, so I don't really want to stress the components, and it's just going to make my life easier to do it. So there's a few bolts I've been told to dismantle this section, and then we can start dropping the tank. So one Torx 20 bit. No, I need to take the door off as well. There we go, one door removed. Right, peace out, and that's the drainer for if you get horrible AdBlue liquid everywhere. And once you're inside, you've got 110mm, I think, to do. Yep. Yeah, you can see that it's hard plastic. It's not going to go anywhere. I don't believe I've got to lower the AdBlue tank. That's a different system. So far, 6 bolts. Let's get under the van. Right, well, whilst we're here, we've got 3 straps. Bolt, 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 and then a corresponding on the other side. So my plan is to get my jack, put it under there, and undo the bolts and then just lower the tank down. I do hope this is somewhat apparent that you should be doing this with a mostly empty fuel tank. Let's just put a bit of wood to support the tank a bit more. There we go. Right, it is a 13mm for these bolts. Do you know what's nice about having a 4x4? It actually fits underneath the van with this lift kit on it. Okay, that's everything loosened. Oh. Right, whilst we're under it, one of the other things I've been told to is to unplug this connector here, which is just on the back of the fuel tank. Because if you're going to drop it, you don't want to be dropping it and putting stress on that connector. There we go. Let's make sure I don't forget to plug that back in later on. Alright, since these are all loose now, I'm just going to use my small bit to get them off. I don't want to lose them. Okay, well, here's no point in the axle stands because they're only allowing me to drop it for a few centimetres. Okay, that's just hanging off because my diff breather is attached to it. And this one should drop off. Right, that one is significantly longer because it's holding up the guard for my AdBlue system. We'll keep that long bolt there then. Right then, let's slowly lower this down. Right, we are going to take this AdBlue out of the way just so I can drop that because in a minute it's getting caught behind this. Okay, AdBlue filler dropped, so now this should, yeah, now this can clear itself and come down. There we go. And it's down. Right, the tank dropped. There's no actual clips holding those fuel lines up, they just sort of rest on top of the tank. So over here is what we want access to, or this bit particularly. Right, that there is the auxiliary fuel nipple, and I just need to cut the tip off it. And we can see as well, there's already space for the new fuel line to clip into. Got my fancy little snippers. There we go, done. And done. No bears as well. It actually looks like it's a perfectly made fracture point because that bit is left a super clean cut on it. All right then, time to get the new bit on. There we go. There's no standpipe needed. This sender unit on the MAN and the Crafters have it built in, unlike my Transit, which you have to insert a small pipe into the auxiliary fuel connector. Nice, and then, oh yeah, it just, well, it does look like it will clip in there. This is not the easiest thing to clip. How do you clip them in there? Oh God. Can I thread it through? Is that cheating? Well, actually, before we do that, let's actually test it out. Right, to test it, I need a heater, and this is the old heater from my van Yeti, which I took out. And for that, I need a power supply, which I have there. It's an AC to DC 12-volt power supply. And for that, I need something to power it, because I have no electrics in the van just yet. And that brings us on to this video's partner, Bluetti, specifically with the Apex 300. First off, I'm really proud of that Audi middle aisle trolley I found. So this video is partnered with Bluetti, particularly looking at the Apex 300, which, if you watched some of the other videos on the channel, I reviewed it a couple months ago in the context of it running a complete van's electrical system, which it did very well, both DC, because with one of the accessories it has a 50 amp DC output, and the AC, which I'm going to be using in this video because I need to run the diesel heater, can have up to 3,800 watt output, which is a bit ridiculous. And for me, it's actually worked quite well. I'm using it quite a bit during the build because it's quite easy for me to have power. I can run the heater, I can run things off 12 volt temporarily using the AC-DC supply, and later on I'm going to be able to plug 12 volt stuff in whilst I'm still setting up the main 48 volt system. And with Black Friday coming up, they've got this particular unit on sale. If you want to find out more about the Apex 300, check out the links in the description below. But integrations, they fund the channel and make it work, but when I can, I try to give other stuff to give back to you guys. So I've convinced Bluetti to give me a power station for a competition. They offered me the Bluetti Elite 30 V2 to give away to one of you guys. The details about the competition will be below. I'll put the closing date in the description, but if you are watching the video, leave a comment about how you would use the Bluetti Elite 30 V2, and I'll use a random comment picker to pick the winner. But once again, thank you Bluetti for partnering with the channel. Thank you guys for watching, and let's get back to the main video. Right, let's get this mounted on the floor. There's my afterburner. Right, here's my little test bench. So if you've seen some of the videos before, diesel heaters can be run on their side as long as the glow plug and the fuel is on the upside, not the bottom. Got my power supply, and this is the fuel pipe here, as I just want to test it before we go ahead and mount the tank back up again. Seems like a prudent idea. For the purpose of testing, that should be sufficient. That's your diesel out anyway. So there we go. Power supply is turned on. Got my afterburner controller. The reason I say it's on, why is it not on? It's on a minute ago. It was on a second ago, a couple of bloody lights. I've honestly had enough of this plug. It has given me issues for years. Right, there we go, and I'll print some nice holders and get rid of this piece of Right, after that somewhat unnecessary side quest, now let's try it out. And there we go, booted first time. So it's going to boot up for a little bit first. There's the old run time of this heater. This heater still has 6,000 run hours on it, and the glow plug has been on for, but I want the priming feature. Now, prime. I found it for a second. There we go, start. That's just fuel which was probably sitting in the pump. And there we go, fuel is through. Stop. So let's just get this fired up. Start immediately. The glow plug's coming on. We are going to get a lot of smoke coming out here because I pulled quite a lot of diesel through. Glow plug is still heating up. Starting to get a bit of ignition. And there we go, ignited. Pretty as simple as that. Now this isn't the diesel heater which is going in, this is one from my old van. I've got an Autoterm 4D going in and my engine preheater. Because I want to run two items off this one fuel line, I'll probably have a wide junction and that'll split them apart. Right, now that it's all set up, let's turn it off and get to put this back together. Turn it off, I'm just going to pull the fuel pipe out. Next job, fit the fuel pumps. Right, here's an Autoterm pump set up. This is the hydronic one. Both the rubber mounts allow the fuel line to go on it. I'm actually installing this during the course of putting in the fuel auxiliary point, just because I don't want to take it down again. And for the bracket, I'm going to use this. So this is one of the mounting bits of metal which is called mounting bracket, which comes in the Autoterm kits. And I'm just going to modify it. My plan is there's a pre-threaded hole in the van I can use, bend it 90 degrees there, and then I can mount the pump there for the engine preheater. And since I'm also having a diesel air heater as well, I can put another hole there and mount the air one just below it. So both the pumps are in the same spot. One of the important things to note for the manual with Autoterm pumps is they should be within 1 meter of the auxiliary fuel tank. So you can have about 1 meter of it sucking up fuel and 4 meters of it pushing. Quite often on the Chinese heater installs, you'll see people, same as on my old van, mounting the pump directly below the heater. Autoterm specifically want you to mount nearer the fuel tank itself, so that's what I'm going to do. Oh, that's hot. Who would have thought the metal I just drilled out was super hot? You didn't see that. There we go, good enough. Right, next job, go get the other pump. Right, time to put together, why is there diesel dripping out of there? A little bracket. So I'm going to use a Y branch, which I just picked up from Halford. It's the same one I've been using on this van for the last 5 years. Fuel's going to come in this way, and then it's going to go off to each different heater. As both of these pumps don't allow you to backfeed fuel, you don't end up with one heater running and pulling fuel from the other one. It doesn't seem to have ever been a problem. So just going to use some of the connectors to get that all up. I think I'm going to need to use some more lubricant. Too much lubricant. Oh, that's quite tight. There we go. Right, let's get some clamps on it. Let's get the last but not least one on. Okay, that's quite a tight fit. Right, there we go. Now I'm going to leave a bit of slack just in case, so let's go for there. Right, there's my thing made. Let's get them mounted on here. Right, I have numbered them 4 kilowatt and 5 kilowatt, or 4 kilowatt air, 5 kilowatt water, just because they are different size fuel pumps. So let's have the 5 kilowatt at the bottom. Right, I'm going to go get my spanner and tighten those up off camera. So they're mounted at the bracket at the angle, and that can go into the fuel line off the main tank. Also, since I don't want to have to do this again, I am just going to run both my fuel lines now for the 4Air and the Flow 5. Right, since we're here, I have got the power cable for the diesel air heater fuel pump. That can just go on and has a quick connect, has a plug. The engine preheater one, on the other hand, doesn't, and I just cut it off the loom and I will reattach it later. But since it's not the most convenient place under the van to mount stuff, I'd rather get these in now. That didn't work very well, did it? Oh no, that is on there. There you go, both of those are on. Let's get back under the van and get this in place. Right, some people might not find this interesting, but this is a little bolt from my very first van, Chardonnay. It was a yellow XAA Renault Traffic, and this bolt perfectly fits that hole. So we're going to use it. Which way have I got to lie? Let's do this. I'll get on my back. Oh, where's the spanner? My line on it. There it is. Check me light up. Oh goodness! I mean, great. Even better. This is a nightmare job. I've got to do just once. Just once, Alex. Just once. I just need to get it in the threads. There we go. Right, in. Let's get the fuel line run. Now, I kind of assumed routing was going to be a pain, but if we look down there, we can just see the fuel line and the pump power. And then this here, which the laser pointer is on, is the breathers, and they actually run exactly on the cable route I'm taking. So I'm going to get those, pull them through, and then I'm going to cable tie them to the breathers. And then the engine preheater is going in this spot here. Right, we are going fishing with a tape measure. It's not very helpful in this case because I want it down there. Okay, actually that worked really well. All right. Oh. That actually worked surprisingly well. Right, now I've got to get back under the van to make sure the routing's okay. Right, that's most of them run, and one of my new favourite purchases, these clippers but with this little bar on it, because it does this. It holds your cable tie end after you've clipped it. And for the other side, for running the air heater, I'm just going to trim all these off, but I'm just again use some of the breather and then onto a cable, which has got a bunch of clips to the chassis already. Down there, and then I've temporarily just tied it up and cable tied it into that hole because I don't need the air heater to be fitted anytime soon, because I've got the bits and bobs to do, but I just want to get the cables. So let's just tidy up my cable tie ends. There we go. And whilst it's going to be, there is still some access to those pumps if I ever needed to do maintenance. In an emergency, I could get access to them from in there that way. Next, I don't know if you can see them, get the Y junction connected to the fuel pipe. Well, at least there's enough space. Loosen it off a bit. There we go. Sorted. All right, all that's left to do is get this back up again. I can't get it in these factory clips, so I'm just going to cable tie it. Snip those off. Where's the tank again? Right, and there's the Autoterm heaters. Now the fun task is just reversing the whole process. This is the last bit, is the AdBlue lid, and I have lost it. It was there all along. And back together. Right, as we had the fuel tank unplugged, let's just put the keys in the ignition and make sure we don't have any fault codes. I know that's not a fault code. No fault codes. No fault codes. Well, as you can see, the easiest bit was probably really? Well, as you can see, the easiest bit was probably fitting the actual auxiliary fuel pipe connector itself. Getting the tank back on and then running all the fuel pumps and mounting them was a bit more of a pain. But hopefully that's helped some people trying to do it, and generally it's a pretty easy option to do. PartsLink24 makes it really easy to find the correct part you need, and just ordering it from an MAN dealer seems to be a really cheap way to do it as well. And those parts should be the same on the VW version of the vehicle as well. But if you've enjoyed this, consider checking out some of the other videos on the channel or the rest of the MAN build. Or if you're really enjoying it, consider joining the memberships or the Arctic stuff where I take my Ford Transit in the past. Maybe some of the Amazon links in the description, or other links down there, like I'm a brand ambassador for Autoterm and I look at their diesel air heaters and their diesel water heaters. I work for a UK lithium battery company called Roma, and I do their electrical camper design consultations for customers and a bunch more stuff. But really, I just want to make videos for you guys to enjoy. So thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Cheers. Bye.